welcome to the Cinemagic Preview Show. This week we will be reviewing William Nicholson's drama romance, Hope Gap.
I have been here before. The sighing sound. You have been mine before.
Hello, stranger. Hello, Mum.
Hello, stranger.
Hello, Mum.
Sometimes I think we don't really talk.
What do you mean, talk?
Talk the way people do.
It's not really working, is it? I'm going to leave.
Look, Edward,
You can't just walk away after 29 years. You have to try.
I have tried for 29 years.
No.
I think the truth is, we're different kinds of people.
If I had to blame you for anything, it would be letting her think that you were happy. You think maybe he'll walk back through that door?
it really could happen.
Mum, he's in love! If your life hurts you so much, I won't stop you.
This isn't anything to do with me. This is your problem.
His name is Edward. Stay, Edward. Stay.
Forgive me for needing you to be strong forever. Forgive me for fearing your unhappiness. As you suffer, so I shall suffer. Hold my hands and walk the old walk. One last time.
If we get a divorce, I get less than if he died.
Oh, yes.
So it would be better for me if you were dead.
What do our young Cinemagic reviewers think?
Hi, I'm Charlotte Cleary, and today I'm going to be reviewing Hope Gap. It is an independent film written and directed by William Nicholson. The premise is this. A couple's visit with their son takes a dramatic turn when the father says he plans on leaving the mother. I think this was a brilliant film. There was gorgeous cinematography that illustrated the characters' emotions and reflected what was going on in the story visually, and I thought the colour grading and the lighting was superb. When the father, Edward, was more distant in the relationship, the camera mirrored that, and there were similar things done with lighting and set design. I thought the set design was gorgeous, and the locations. I loved all the individual props. Amazing acting from Annette Bening and Bill Nighy, and from Josh O'Connor playing their son. But of course I would expect nothing less from these top-notch brilliant actors. I loved how poetry was used to express the emotions of the characters. It's a very humane story, and it's very neutral. It paints the characters with all their flaws and all their beautiful attributes. It's not judgmental, it's just, life, and that's what happens, and I think that this film portrays that really, really beautifully. William Nicholson did a fabulous job directing and writing this film. I would give it a 5 out of 5. I really, really loved it. Gonna go on to my favourites list.
Hello, my name is Rosa Scott. Today I'll be reviewing the film Hope Gap, which is written and directed by William Nicholson. One thing I think that this film did well was at the beginning of the film, we are introduced to each of the characters and are given a inner monologue through a voiceover to sort of show what the characters are feeling and what kind of a person they are. This helps establish who the characters are right from the beginning of the film. I like that this film also touched on how the separation of two parents affects the child, Jamie. I think Jamie's character was really well developed throughout the film, as obviously he struggles with the separation of his parents and he is deeply upset by them no longer being together and them not being in love anymore. Another excellent thing about this film is the camera work, as an awful lot of the shots were slow tracking shots, which helps us as the audience feel as if we are there, as if we are in the room with the characters. And I thought this was very, very well done, as it helps add to the realism of the story. There's one scene in particular which I thought was incredibly powerful and extremely well done, which features only music and no dialogue, as we see Grace sitting by herself, feeling alone and feeling sad. This sequence is shot incredibly, and alongside the orchestral music, really emphasises just how distraught and upset Grace is. Overall, I would give this film 5 stars, as I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a fantastic study on how each of these characters deal with the separation of Edward and Grace. I would definitely recommend this film to others, particularly those aged 15+, as it deals with many difficult topics such as death and the end of relationships, and also the relationships between a child and their parents.
So the film I'll be reviewing today is a film called Hope Gap. Like, camera-wise, I would say is amazing, especially with, again, Josh O'Connor's character. They use a lot of long shots, and like tracking him all the way around, because then he's dragging all this weight behind him, and we kind of feel that with the camera movements. Locations, I'd say, are incredible. Again, their main location was the White Cliffs, which look absolutely stunning. A few like visual nods I noticed that they both start and end the same way, as in we see the open ocean with Jamie's parents in the background looking on at him, while Jamie's just exploring all around the rock pools, which I find quite clever. But overall, the film itself is a great representation of divorce and relationships, except it felt a bit dragged on at times as well. It started to make me feel a bit tired, but overall I really enjoyed it. The rating is a 12A, and I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Hi, I'm Owen, and I'm going to be reviewing the film Hope Gap. The character development in Hope Gap is incredible. All three of the leading roles achieve compelling arcs, but extra credit must be given to Annette Bening's character Grace and her final position in the third act. The theme of separation has been seen recently in the Oscar nominee Marriage Story. However, Hope Gap explores the same theme at a later stage in life. This brings with it a completely different set of obstacles, with a mental health aspect being very strong within the second act. Hope Gap accentuates the shooting location. This, combined with the occasional voiceover, adds to the film's poetic feel, creating a beautiful tone that makes it very easy to get lost in the world of the film. Overall, I very much enjoyed Hope Gap. With the strong themes, developed characters, beautiful tone and visual style, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 and definitely recommend watching it.
My name is Lee Cronin. I am a filmmaker. Filmmaker can mean many different things. In my case, I am a writer and a director. So I work on screenplays, and then I look to bring those screenplays to life on set and create movies, whether short or feature films. Not any one thing at all. I think many different things that kind of, led me down the pathway into the career that I'm having and have had to date. I think as a kid I was, really into movies, really into cartoons, and I was the youngest in my family, so I was exposed to kind of quite a lot of creepy and scary movies at a young age. I saw things like The Shining and Evil Dead and Poltergeist before I was like 10 years old. I think I saw Jaws when I was 6 or 7. And those movies really kind of had an impact on me, on my creative mind, and kind of formed a little bit of a part of my early imagination and the type of things that I wanted to make. And I always maintained, a huge interest in movies and what they could be. But it probably wasn't until my early teens, maybe even 13, 14, before I thought about having a career in film. And it came about through my best friend, his mother, said to me that I should maybe write movie reviews because I was always talking about movies, but I didn't really like that idea, and I started to think about what it would be like to actually make movies, and I started to write little screenplays, probably when I should have been doing my English homework down the back of class, writing strange screenplays. And I saved up and bought myself I sold my first, I wanted to be in a band, and I had a drum kit, and I sold it and bought a camcorder. And I started to experiment with it, doing like special effects and making little short films with my friends, and all that kind of experimentation. That is a really, really important part of, the journey that you go on in wanting to become a filmmaker. And I guess it was always there for me, and it was just figuring out what that job meant, and because there's lots of exciting jobs in the film business. There's lots of things that you can do, and trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. But I knew that the passion was there, and from probably by 15, I had certainly determined this is what I want to do with my life. I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I'll be successful. I still don't know if I'll be successful, truly, but I knew it was something that I wanted to do. And I kind of started to set that pathway forward, which for anyone working in film, it's not a straightforward and simple thing. Everybody's pathway is different. Some will be very curvy, some will be very challenging. Sometimes you'll feel like you want to quit, but if you've got that real drive and passion, I think it can carry you through all manner of challenges. You know, you have to get out of bed early. You know, you get brought to set, and you've got to deal with the challenges that are ahead of you that day, and you've got to work within your budget and your schedule, and you have to work with, you know, a team of people. That team changes some days depending on things that you're doing. It might be a smaller, intimate team, or if you're doing a lot of visual effects or practical effects on set, it might be a bigger team that day. But, you know, the bottom line is you're working with actors, you are working with technicians, and you're communicating all the time with people around you to try and achieve the vision that you've set out for the day, and that vision for the day is part of that bigger overall vision that you need to have as a director. What's that picture on the wall that you're trying to create and to kind of paint with your mind? So every decision you're making every day is what it's like, and that makes every day on set a little bit different, because you're facing different challenges, different questions, you know, different difficulties, and you're having to be very nimble in how you react and using your skills to overcome, you know, the endless things that you get hit with. Some people say that filmmaking is like a series of compromises, but I actually just think it's more like a series of more than challenges, just really creative challenges that you need to try and work your way around. I sometimes also, this is maybe to do with what a typical day on set is like, but I sometimes look at filmmaking a little bit like you write a shopping list for what you want, and you go to the shop, you go to the store. You can't always afford everything that's there. Not everything you want is in stock, so you do the best you can, and that's like, you know, when you're out in a set, that's like going to the supermarket, and then when you come back and move into the edit, you look at all the ingredients and you try and make the best thing you can out of what you're able to afford and to collect and to get that day. I think to be a filmmaker, you do have to be ambitious, you have to be driven, and you have to have kind of goals and things that you want to achieve. I think my biggest achievement maybe to date in filmmaking has been the fact that I'm still doing it after a decade. It's a slow business. Filmmaking is slow. It takes time. Development of projects takes time. Earning trust takes time. You know, just making a movie, even making a short film to a really high standard takes time. You know, it's going to take a chunk of your life. And I think, you know, I'm probably most proud that after many years' work, I got to make my debut feature film, The Hole in the Ground, which premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and went on to have a great theatrical life in many countries around the world. So that's a great achievement, but I think staying in the game every day, and now being in a position to be able to get up and look somebody in the eye and say, yes, I'm a filmmaker, this is what I do, that's probably what I'm most proud of, and I hope that I can continue to do that for a good bit more time in my career. Ambitious people and young people that want to work in filmmaking often ask, you know, for advice. And here's the best piece of advice I could actually give, because I get asked questions quite frequently. Do you have any advice? How can we help? And you don't need my advice to tell you how to make a movie. You go and watch movies, and you can read a lot of stuff online. I'm going to give a little bit of what I think is important advice. When you do seek advice, have specific questions to ask. People that work in the film industry in all capacities, you know, from every department, when you're working hard in a film, you're really busy. They're long and challenging days. We also love to talk, filmmakers love to talk about what they're doing, and they're happy to share and pass on information. But what can sometimes be difficult is if someone says, hi, like, can you just give me some advice about filmmaking? Ask a specific question, ask advice, like, you know, ask a question like, why would it be important for me to make a short film first? Or, you know, how could I find funding to make a short film? Try and make your questions specific, because if you make them very, very general, sometimes what happens is you'll get a very general answer, and that won't necessarily you know, improve your chances of getting the information you're after. So really think about the questions that you want to ask and make them as specific as you can. And then when you have the opportunity to talk to people that maybe have experience or have done the things that you want to do, then you might get answers that can be really useful and really helpful for you and the plan that you're making. And I think always remember, your plan is the most important one, what you're trying to do. As I said, everybody's pathway is different, and there's no rule book. And that's both scary and exciting, but I think filmmaking is often built on people making making their own rules, redefining things, doing things in different ways. So I think have that ambition, ask the right questions, and be ready for a really long and difficult but also rewarding journey as well.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.